Hey, testing, testing. Okay, great. Now we come back to a new series of videos. Okay, now that after we are done with the law of demand at the absolute version and the relative version, right? Now, for this video, we're going to look at something that is vastly different. We call it the change in demand. 好啦，咩東西嚟嘅咧？Now, let's revise a little bit. As we talk about the law of demand, right? We were talking about higher the price, lower the QD. 咩東西嚟嘅咧？ We were talking about along the same curve, okay? Let's say higher the price from point A to point B. This is a movement along the same demand，記唔記得啊？我哋之前話同一條啦。Okay, now starting from this video, actually not starting from this video, but specifically this video, we are talking about changing demand. What is a change in demand? Graphically, it is like this. From D1 to D2, the whole demand curve shifts. OK，成條 shift 走咗。好啦，如果文字係點講咧？係咪？我哋之前話啦，change in quantity demanded, it's when price change, QD changes, right? Now, for change in demand, we can say things like this. Even price remains unchanged. 就算啦，價唔變啊 I still buy more or buy less, buy fewer of them. OK，原來就算價冇變嘅情況之下，which most of the time price will change. But the concept of changing demand is that even if price 做乜歪晒嘅？Even if price doesn't change, then the quantity I want to buy will still change. OK，好嘛？好啦，咁幾時 change in demand 啊？What are the factors, right? These are the other factors。記唔記得我哋之前話啦？喂，唔記得咗先嘛？今日好啲啦，係咪啊？我哋之前提到啦，係咪？We talk about in law of demand, other factors are always kept constant, right? So when will demand change? When other factors are not kept constant. OK，當我其他因素唔係保持不變嘅時候，就成條彈走咗啦。OK，so here are some of the examples. For example, consumer income. 原來咧，我哋嘅 income 啊，how much money we have will affect our consumption. OK，嗱，here we have two ways to go. 我哋有兩條路要行，得唔得？好啦，嗱，let's say income increased，而家我多錢，正常嚟講咧，normally speaking, my demand for a good would increase，係咪？就算佢冇貴到冇平到，我都會買咗啊！所以六隻字，有錢就是任性啊嘛，係嘛？嗱，this is a normal way. Actually, we have a name for it. Okay, these are what we call normal goods or what we call superior goods。正常嗰啲 goods 咧，越有錢或者越多啊。OK，嗱，阿 Sir 咁有唔正常？有。On another hand, demand would drop for a certain type of good we call inferior good。唔記得咗中文係咩？真係唔記得咗啦。我總之嘅 inferior good 啫。咩事咧？例如啦，講緊嗰啲老翻啊，係嘛？If you have money, you go buy LV，OK？So LV superior good，OK？係咪啊？而家冇錢唔買 LV，第日有錢買個 LV 俾女朋友，係咪啊？So here superior good。好啦，而家冇錢啦，咁買俾女朋友買咩啊？買 IV 咯，係咪？唔買 LV 買 IV 咯，即係嗰啲假嗰啲啊，counterfeit products，right？好啦，有錢你買唔買 IV 啊？When you have money, you don't buy IV, or else your girl would get angry at you, right? You buy LV。So usually those cheaper product 嗰啲咩老番啊嗰啲咧，those will be what we call inferior goods. Okay, so boys, remember when we talk about income, you need to be very careful, right? Not just 有錢就是任性. No, 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 no. You also need to think about the possibility of inferior goods. Okay. 好嘛？好嗱，呢個第一個啦。嗱，第二個咧複雜少少咯。第二個咧，we call it substitutes and complements。好啦，有兩隻唔同嘅 term 要識晒。Substitute refers to goods that can replace the product。OK， 似之前講咩啊？似之前講嘅所以叫 horizontal expansion 咯，記唔記得啊？That can replace directly competing。例如啦，Coca-Cola and Pepsi，唔會有人咁變態，哇！飲咗罐可樂好爽啊，哇！開咗罐百事先，唔會噶嘛。OK，while compliments are goods that are used together，咩that are together，that are used。OK，I'm so sorry，that are used together as a product。OK，for example，phone and charger 係咪啊？有電話就好自然要叉電啦，係咪啊？These two would go hand in hand。好啦，發生咩事咧？慢慢嚟啊，睇住咯噃。嗱，你本書係咁講嘅。Let's copy what the textbook says first，and then I will tell you what's the problem with the textbook。OK，好嘛？好啦，it says when the price increases，let's say for good A，第一隻 goods 啊，if they are substitute relationship。如果佢係屬於一個 substitute 嘅話咧，then the demand for B would increase。點解啊？A 貴咗，梗係唔買 A 去買 B 啦，係咪？攞 B 取代佢啊？B can substitute good A, right? So the demand for B would increase. On another hand, right? On another hand, there is another way. If they are complement，好啦 ，A 都貴咗啦，而家電話貴咗啦，咁買唔買咁多 charger 啊？No，right？ So the demand for B, if they are complement, would decrease. Okay, now this is what the textbook says. Okay, but then I think this is not a very good way. I'll put a tick and a cross here. I'll put a tick and a cross here. This is not a very good way to represent this idea, right? Now, I think the more correct way, we should not use price, but instead we should use quantity。我覺得我哋有 quantity 係好啲嘅。OK，發生咩事啦？When price of A increases, then the quantity demanded of A would drop. If there are substitute relationship, then another goods demand would increase. While, okay, if they are complements, then the demand for another good would decrease. 啊，唔係喎，係咪啊？睇先。Would decrease if they are complement. Okay, I think this is a safer way. Now, why I say so? Something to do with what we're going to talk about in later videos. Okay, no, not this. Okay, in later videos. Here, the idea is like this. When demand increases, price increase, quantity also increase。嗱，咁啊大鑊啦！如果根據書嘅邏輯，this one, if we have a substitute, then this one would also increase. Now that doesn't make sense. Why? Imagine this is Pepsi。百事啲人飲多咗百事，所以根據書嘅邏輯，啲人會飲多咗可樂。Does that make sense to you? No, right? Therefore, this is not a good indicator. Okay. In fact, I think a better indicator should be this one. Demand for Pepsi increase. Therefore, the quantity increase. Therefore, since they're substitute, this one should decrease. 我飲多咗百事冇理由飲多咗可樂㗎。Okay, so I think what I said in textbook is not a very safe conclusion. Okay, not a very safe conclusion. 好嘛，所以啦，我哋盡量用翻 QD。Okay, let's use quantity demanded or quantity transacted。嗱，遲啲再講咩嚟㗎，好嘛？Okay，好嘛。So this one, remember, substitute and complement use quantity instead. Okay, boys, wait for me a little bit. Wait for me a little bit. All right, I'm back. So sorry, just now my washing machine was screaming, okay, because it finished its job and asked me to change the order for it. Okay，好嘛，好啦，嗱咁啦，第三個啦，in our notes you will see I have something we call derived demand。嗱呢個好緊要啊，this one please revise. It will be in your test. OK，記唔記得啊？I say in your upcoming tests, 5 marks would be from this chapter, okay, chapter 8 and chapter 9, okay, don't worry, they would just be some very simple concepts, fill in the blanks basically, right? But this one will definitely in your exam, in your test, so please revise this one. 好啦，呢個咩東西嚟？嗱 this one is called derived demand, okay, 咩東西嚟嘅咧？ It goes like this. When the quantity of A increases, if they belong to derived demand relationship, then the demand for B would also increase. 咦，咁熟口面嘅 ？When have we seen this? 啱啱先見過咪 complement 咯，係咪啊？ So what's the difference between derived demand and complement？原來係咁嘅。Derived demand falls into a relationship of factors and output. Okay, 得唔得？ Output and factor. It says here, when the output increases, egg tart, for example. 好啦，如果我而家要多啲蛋撻啦，好自然地 I would require more factor. So the demand for the factor will increase，係咪啊？我要多啲蛋咯，冇蛋點整蛋撻？係咪啊？Okay, so this is what we call derived demand, okay? Or English-wise, we call it egg tarts. Creates a derived demand for egg. Okay，得唔得啊？好啦，嗱，boys, remember this doesn't work the other way round. 倒轉係唔得㗎吓。It doesn't work the other way round. While for complements, okay, basically they can work the other way round, 好嘛？兩邊都行得嘅 okay? For example, if the output of X increase, 我而家多咗蛋，代唔代表一定整到啲蛋撻㗎？唔一定㗎，整到啲奄列唔得嘅，係咪？我中意整到啲奄列，我中意整到啲布甸唔得嘅，係咪啊？Okay, so remember, it only goes from output to factor, not factor to output. 唔可以行翻轉頭啊，得唔得？唔可以行翻轉頭嘅。This one is very important. Okay, 好嘛？ So don't mix up these two. Don't mix up these two. Okay, and remember, this one only works from a factor output relationship. 我一定要用佢先整到佢啊！我要用 factor 先整到 output 啊。Okay, while complement, no need to be such relationship. For example, phone and charger. 你使唔使攞個 charger 嚟整個電話出嚟㗎？唔需要㗎嘛，係嘛？ You don't need a charger to make a phone. You only need a charger to use a phone. 係嘛？你唔係攞嚟整佢，你一齊用㗎嘛 ？OK， 好嘛 ？So derived demand。好啦，最後幾個咧好簡單嘅啫。Market size 唔解咧，係咪 ？When there are more people, then what happen？ demand increase 唔解啦，多咗人咪多咗人買咯，唔解啦，係嘛？好，跟住呢個啦 ，expectation of future price。好啦，會發生咩事咧 ？When people expect the price to increase，咁即係咩意思啊 ？Cost in future， 未來嘅 cost 會升啊。好啦 ，boys，in order to save money， 你 expect 佢第二時升，咁你而家做啲咩啊？ Of course, the demand now would increase， 梗係而家買啦。黐線唔通你喺升價先買咩？係嘛 ？So what happens is that， 其實你成日都見到嘅，啲超市咪好興用呢招咯，係嘛？ Those supermarkets what they tell you Lunar New Year 新年減價，通常下一句係咩啊？過完年就加價㗎啦，係咪啊？After Lunar New Year, I will increase the price, right? I will raise the price. Then what will happen? People will flock, okay, will flood to the supermarket to buy everything. 如果唔係點啊？黐線，等過咗年之後先買咪蝕錢咯。 係咪啊？貴咗喎，好嘛？OK, so this is what's going on our daily basis. OK, 好啦 preference 冇得解嘅。When people prefer to buy more, they buy more. 冇嘢好解嘅呢個。OK, 冇嘢好解嘅，好嘛？Alright, so these are some of the factors affecting demand. OK, I think the most important one would be 1, 2, and 3. 頭三個係最重要，一定要識。頭三個同埋 expectation 啦。OK, expectation. Remember, you need to know this as well. OK, now so for the remainder of the video, let's work on some examples of factors affecting demand. Okay, here we need to explain whether the following cases is a change in QD or demand. 究竟係 QD 嘅轉變定係成條 demand 嘅轉變啊？ Let's say, right, more elderly takes public transportation after the introduction of $2 fee subsidy scheme. 即係咩意思啊？如果呢個咁嘅 subsidy 啊，$2 subsidy scheme, what is it affecting? It is affecting price. 好啦，而家係 price 變，所以導致點啊？ It should be change in quantity demanded. Okay, more specifically, in our case, price decreases, QD increases more specifically, right? 得唔得？因為係價變啊。This is a change in price. Therefore, it should be a change in quantity demanded, not demand. 好啦。The sales of iPad surged after people received this amount of money in 2012. 原來2012年當年啊，突然之間好多人買 iPad，點解？第一次派6000蚊咯，係啊，第一次派6000蚊，全部人攞晒嚟買 iPad 咯，係咪？好啦 ，this cash, what is it? This is an income increase, income 高咗啊。Therefore, this is a demand increase, not just price，唔係個 price 變喎。係 income 變喎 ，so this is a change in demand，OK， change in demand。好啦 ，sales of papers dropped as e-book becomes more popular。嗱，我見咧好多同學都係啊，特別 Form 1仔咧 ，many Form 1 and Form 2 now they love to hold an e-book， 係咪？甚至乎唔係 iPad 添啊，有啲叫 Kindle 嘅東西啊，係咪？They use Kindle to read some e-books，OK， 好啦 ，e-books 同 books 咩嚟㗎？Books and e-books. Okay, what are they? 你有 e-book 使唔使睇書啊？使唔使睇硬皮書啊？唔需要喎。So we call it a substitute relationship. Now e-books becomes more popular. Therefore, the demand for book would decrease. Okay, this is a change in demand. Okay, 好嘛，好睇啦。The sales of iPhone and Samsung Galaxy dropped as Xiaomi becomes more popular. The same here. This is a substitute relationship. Okay, this is a substitute relationship. Therefore, this is a change in demand. Okay, 唔係個價喎，係咪？唔係個價喎。好啦， then milk powders are constantly out of stock after the relaxing of one-child policy in China， 即係咩意思啊 ？population 咯，係咪 population 多咗生仔咯，而家唔係一孩政策啊嘛。population increase, therefore demand would increase. Okay, 好嘛 ？This is a change in demand. And finally, number of property transactions surged right after the implementation of right before the implementation of double property tax. 原來當年啊，我咧樓市辣招之前啊 ，what happens? Because people expect the price of property to increase。黐線，隔多2個禮拜買會貴成100萬喎，咁幾時買？佢而家買啦。The demand now increases. Okay, so you see, this is a change in demand. So boys, remember, when is it a change in QD? Only when this is a change in price. When is it a change in demand? When this is a change in other factors than price. Okay, price 以外嘅嘢變，得唔得？ Okay, let's do one more page of past paper and be done with factors affecting demand. 好啦，2014年啦。In which of the following pairs do the demand for first good creates a derived demand for second one。記住啊，頭先講咗啊，係 outputs would create a derived demand for factor. So we need to find output and factor. Aviation service and pilots exactly 你冇機師又點揸飛機呢？係咪啊？ So aviation service would require pilots to be the factors of production。不過睇埋 BCD 先，好嘛 ？West rail line and light rail train. Okay, I think the two of them most likely would be something we call substitute。嗱，我真係唔熟啊，其實佢哋有冇重複㗎？ Do they overlap? I really don't know, right? 好啦 ，Blu-ray disc and Blu-ray disc players. Okay, now boys, these two looks to be quite quite correct. 睇落好似幾似幾啱係嘛？但係小心啲喎。We are talking about derived demand. Boys, do you need a player to make the disc? No. So these two are what we call complements, not derived demand. Hong Kong Disneyland and Ocean Park 咁呢兩個唔使問啦。These two are what we call substitute. OK， 好啦，下條啦，2016年啦。The demand for something can be regarded as a derived demand for another thing. OK， 好啦 ，here 嗱呢個咧又同上面咧有少少唔同喎，係嘛？ A derived demand for, okay, this one is a factor. Okay, 呢個英文問題啊 ，for output. Okay, the demand for factor can be regarded as a derived demand for output. Okay, so let's find factor and output. Okay, coffee beans and coffee. Okay, this one seems to be okay. 係咪啊？好啦，睇埋 BCD 先。Selfie stick, digital camera，呢兩個係咩嚟㗎 ？These two are what we call 唔係 substitute 黐線啊。These two are what we call complements 係咪啊？攞自拍棍動部機上去嘛 ？Complements。Chicken wings and chicken legs，我哋未學嘅呢個，我哋下條片先講。These two are what we call joint supply。嗱，唔關電話事嘅呢個。我哋下條片先講 newspaper and printing paper。OK， these two just the opposite， 倒轉咗啫，係咪？倒轉咗啫。OK，remember derived demand doesn't work the other way round。OK，answer will be A here。OK，now finally here finally 2018, okay, 2018. Now refer to the above diagram, okay? The price of the farming tools, okay? 嗱，睇住啊，呢個係 farm product 同 farming tools 咩嚟㗎 ？Farming you need farming tools. This is a factor. In order to make farm product, this is an output, right? 係嘛？你有呢個工具先做到啲 farm product 噶嘛？ Now therefore, as farm product increases, the demand for farming tools would also increase. Demand for tool increases. 嗱，我哋未學嘅。When demand increases, price of tool would also increase. Okay, would rise because demand for farm products creates a derived demand for farming tools. Exactly the answer we want. Okay, 好嘛? So boys, these are the factors affecting demand. For our next video, we will very briefly touch on the idea of supply and not in detail because basically everything you swap it around, that will be supply. Okay, so I will see you very soon in our next video very soon.